The average retail price for a steak hit $12.80 a pound in May 2026. That is not a steakhouse price. That is what you pay at a grocery store, standing in front of a refrigerated case, picking up a package with a brand name on it. The question is whether that brand name is doing any work for you or just collecting a premium for the packaging and the advertising behind it. We went through the grade labels, the sourcing claims, the pricing, and the customer complaint records on 11 brands. No lab testing, no independent grading, just the information that is already public and the grade stamp that is already on the package. 8 brands where the label, the price, or the sourcing story fails the steak inside. 3 where the math actually works. Nothing on either list is unsafe to eat. That is not the argument. Before the list starts, 4 terms that come back on every entry. USDA beef grades. Select is the minimum level of marbling that qualifies a carcass for any grade at all. Choice is the standard grocery store tier, moderate marbling, wide range. Prime is abundant marbling, the top 2 to 3% of all beef graded in the United States. A federal inspector stamps the grade at the slaughterhouse. It is the single most objective quality signal on a beef label. Marbling, the intramuscular fat, the white threads visible inside the muscle itself, not the fat cap around the edge. Marbling is the mechanism of flavor, moisture, and tenderness. Remove it, and you have removed the steak's reason for existing. American Wagyu, a crossbred product. Japanese Wagyu genetics crossed with American cattle breeds. Not Japanese beef, not full-blood Wagyu. The percentage of Japanese genetics in any given animal varies enormously, and the label is currently a marketing term more than a regulated standard. Flash frozen. Steak frozen immediately after cutting and vacuum sealing, shipped on dry ice. Not inherently inferior. What matters is what was frozen, not the format. All 4 come back. Great Value is Walmart's store brand across every grocery category, and the beef section is no exception. Great Value beef is frequently USDA Select or ungraded. Select being the minimum level of marbling that qualifies a carcass for any grade at all. There is no butcher counter, no cut-to-order service, no sourcing transparency of any kind. The brand also sells pre-seasoned processed steak items. A seasoned sirloin beef Philly steak product, for example, under the same Great Value label as the fresh cut sitting in the meat case next to it. The word steak is doing more than one job on Walmart's shelves, and the packaging does not make that distinction clear. The critique here is not food safety. The beef is USDA inspected and real. The critique is that at current retail prices, select grade beef from a private label with zero sourcing story is the worst eating experience the market offers at a price point that no longer qualifies as cheap. If you are spending close to the national average per pound, you are not getting close to average quality. Target Good and Gather is the store's house food brand, launched in 2019 and positioned as clean label, better for you, naturally sourced across every grocery category it touches. The packaging is white and minimal. The design communicates premium. The grade does not consistently follow. Good and Gather beef is typically USDA choice on some cuts and slides into select on others, with no clear indication on the package of where within the choice range a particular piece of meat actually sits. That last part matters more than the packaging suggests. Choice is a wide band. A carcass at the bottom of the choice marbling range and a carcass at the top of the choice marbling range carry the same label and the same grade stamp, and the eating experience between them is not the same. Good and Gather offers no prime tier at all. Choice is the ceiling, with no upgrade path for the shopper who wants something meaningfully better. There is no farm-to-store traceability, no sourcing transparency beyond what any mass grocery store private label provides, no indication of which farm, which region, or which supply chain produced the specific package in your hand. The clean label aesthetic is doing the premium positioning that the grade cannot consistently support. The white packaging is working harder than the beef inside it. The verdict: you are paying a premium perception price for a standard commodity product, and the design is the only thing distinguishing it from the store brand sitting on the shelf next to it. 2 brands, 1 business model. Both are mail-order gift occasion steak companies with decades of name recognition, TV advertising budgets, and holiday bundle pricing that far exceeds what the grade inside the package actually justifies. Omaha Steaks. PIST consumer rating of 2.0 out of 5.0 across more than 500 reviews as of mid-2026. December 2025 produced widely documented fulfillment failures. Orders where a tracking number was generated and no product ever shipped. Boxes arriving blood-soaked. Items substituted without notice. The brand acknowledged logistics changes that, by their own admission, produced poor customer outcomes. The product is almost entirely USDA choice. Gift tier prices for a grocery store grade. Kansas City Steak Company. Trustpilot rating of 2.7 out of 5.0. 4 8-ounce tenderloins for $179, approximately $89 a pound. USDA prime tenderloin at Costco runs $25 to $30 a pound fresh. One customer reviewing on the brand's own website described the steaks as shockingly poor for a prime product, equivalent to a local grocery store at a fraction of the cost. Fulfillment complaints include boxes dripping blood on arrival and subscription auto-enrollment without explicit consent. The binding note on both, flash frozen, is not the problem. The problem is choice-grade beef at gift box prices paired with a logistics operation that cannot consistently deliver what the customer paid for. Verdict: both brands are spending heavily on marketing that the grade and the delivery record cannot support. Pre-Brands markets what may be the most nutritionally lean steak available at retail. Their own numbers: up to 38% fewer calories and up to 63% less fat than conventional beef. A serving of Pre-Brands beef has fewer calories per ounce than salmon. The company states this proudly on their own marketing materials. This is precisely the problem. Intramuscular fat is not a design flaw in steak. It is the mechanism of flavor and moisture. When you remove 63% of it, you have not improved the steak. You have removed the reason the steak costs steak money. Pre-Brands does not carry a USDA grade because grass-fed, grass-finished cattle consistently score below the marbling threshold for USDA choice. An independent review from April 2026 noted the steak was not very tender and the portion was small relative to the price. Their Steak Lovers box runs $231.99 for 16 steaks, roughly $14.50 per steak. The binding qualifier matters here. Pre-Brands is a legitimate product for people who want lean, clean, health-forward beef and are not primarily concerned with the traditional steak-eating experience. It is not a dishonest product. It is a category error. This is a health food product that calls itself a steak, and the price reflects the branding rather than the eating experience. Know what you are buying before the credit card clears. Certified Piedmontese comes from an Italian heritage breed whose cattle carry a naturally inactive myostatin gene, the gene all mammals have that prevents excess muscle growth. When it is inactivated, cattle develop extraordinarily lean, heavily muscled bodies, and beef with dramatically less intramuscular fat than any USDA-graded product, including Select. The brand markets this as a feature: tenderness and flavor of prime-grade beef with the fat and calorie content comparable to chicken and fish. Read that again slowly. If your steak has the calorie profile of chicken, it does not have the fat profile of steak. Certified Piedmontese does deliver genuine tenderness. The myostatin deficiency produces uniquely tender muscle fibers. But tender and great steak flavor are not the same thing. An independent review from April 2026 confirmed the beef is very lean with minimal visible marbling. The product also requires very precise cooking technique. Low-fat meat moves from rare to overcooked significantly faster than marbled beef, leaving a narrow and genuinely unforgiving margin for error. Price point is comparable to premium marbled brands. You pay steak money for a product that performs more like a very tender lean cut than a traditional steak. The binding qualifier: customers managing dietary fat intake genuinely love this product for exactly what it is. The critique is specifically for the viewer who wants a fat-forward, traditional steak experience. Excellent product, wrong category. Rastelli's is a New Jersey-based premium meat company that sells almost exclusively through QVC and HSN. The product includes USDA Prime and Black Angus beef. The mechanism that makes it a skip is not the beef, it is the channel. QVC charges suppliers approximately 30% of revenue as a commission built into every price before the food cost is even calculated. You are paying 30% over cost before the steak enters the equation. 8 5-ounce filet mignon steaks for $109 on QVC works out to approximately $40 a pound. Comparable USDA Prime filet mignon at Costco runs $25 to $30 a pound fresh. Quality complaints are documented. A Trustpilot reviewer in 2025 described a $140 Thanksgiving roast as equivalent to something available at a supermarket for significantly less. Shipping failures include beef arriving with no dry ice and steaks at 56 degrees Fahrenheit, above the food safety threshold for perishable protein. Quality consistency is a separate documented problem. The same product arriving acceptably on early orders and unrecognizably on later ones. One additional item. Rastelli's pork ribeye products contain approximately 20% added solution, disclosed in fine print on the product page and never mentioned during the TV segment. What is cooked on camera and what arrives at your door are not the same preparation. The channel is the problem, and you are the one paying for it. This entry covers a category rather than a single brand. Wagyu labeled steak sold under grocery chain house labels at a per-pound premium. Sam's Club members mark American Wagyu, Aldi specially selected Wagyu, Walmart adjacent house labels. Products that put the word Wagyu on a shrink-wrapped package in a mass grocery environment and charge $5 to $10 more per pound for it. The regulatory context. The USDA only formalized its authentic Wagyu beef certification program in January 2025. Before that date, any producer could label any beef Wagyu with zero regulatory consequence whatsoever. Even under the current program, the certification is pass-fail. An animal with one purebred Wagyu parent qualifies. There is no meaningful distinction on the label between 50% Wagyu genetics and 93%. Enrollment is also voluntary, meaning a producer can use the word Wagyu today without participating in any certification program at all. A pricing benchmark worth knowing. If you see a 16-ounce American Wagyu steak listed at $49, the price itself is telling you something. Genuine product should run closer to $79. Grocery store house brand Wagyu is typically USDA choice crossbred beef at a meaningful markup for one word on the label. The binding qualifier. Not all American Wagyu sold in mainstream channels is a label game. Some genuine producers sell through standard retail. The critique is specific to house brand grocery labels using the word as marketing rather than as a traceable quality claim. Find the marbling score before the word Wagyu does any more work on your wallet. Costco's buying model is the mechanism. Limited SKU count multiplied by very high volume per SKU equals institutional supplier pricing applied to a consumer product. USDA choice boneless ribeye at approximately $15 to $19 a pound and USDA prime boneless ribeye at approximately $23 a pound as of August 2026. Two grades, clearly labeled, priced accordingly, both available at the same warehouse. The choice product carries a well-documented reputation for coming in at the upper end of the choice marbling range, closer to the prime cutoff than the select floor. The prime product is the top 2 to 3% of all beef graded in the United States. A steakhouse charging $75 for a ribeye buys prime from the same supply chain. Whole subprimals are available. Buy the full ribeye, cut your own steaks at any thickness, cost per pound drops further. One nuance that must not be omitted. Some Costco cuts are blade tenderized, a process that can carry surface bacteria into the interior. The USDA recommends cooking blade tenderized beef to 160 degrees internal. Look for not blade tenderized on the label if you prefer lower temperatures. Best value proposition in the steak market at both grade levels. Snake River Farms is an American Wagyu producer out of Boise, Idaho. Cattle are 50% purebred Japanese Wagyu genetics crossed with high-quality American breeds, grain-finished for 450 to 550 days. The commodity industry standard is approximately 180. SRF uses a proprietary 12-point beef marbling score. Their silver tier starts at BMS 4 to 5, which is USDA prime marbling level. That is the floor of the entire lineup. Black Label runs BMS 6 to 8, significantly above prime. Gold runs BMS 9 to 10. Gold Plus reaches BMS 11 to 12. The key mechanism, Wagyu intramuscular fat, melts at a lower temperature than conventional beef fat, basting the interior of the steak during cooking. You cannot replicate that effect with a grain-finished choice product regardless of technique. SRF ships flash frozen, individually vacuum sealed. Same format as Omaha steaks, dramatically different product inside the package. The binding note, SRF is American Wagyu, not full-blood Japanese Wagyu, 50% Japanese genetics, not 100. If you want to understand what the Wagyu label should actually mean, this is the reference point. 3 things before the next steak purchase. Find the USDA grade on the label. If it is not there, that absence is itself information. A brand that buries the grade behind every other attribute is doing that for a reason. Second, price check the same grade at Costco before paying a premium elsewhere. The grade is a federal standard, not a proprietary system. The same grade costs very different amounts depending on who is marketing it. Third, understand what lean means on a steak label. Fewer calories than salmon means a health product, not a steak. The grade and the sourcing story are both on the package. They have always been there. Most people never read them. That is the business model of every brand on the skip list. Hit subscribe. We go through labels like this every week, and most of them nobody at the meat counter is talking about.